I'm listening for a monitor.
Sorry.
Good morning. I'm really honored to be here. I mean, this is so cool. This is like the first time that CLF has met in years, and I get to be a part of this early phase of the rebirth of CLF. How exciting. So it's Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
So I want to tell a story, and I want to, while I'm doing that, talk about gratitude and how we do Thanksgiving. So this is my story about 2022, and it's been a year. You know, there's years that just, you know, things are kind of just go by, and it's just kind of life. And then there are years when life shows up.
Yeah.
And that's when we figure out what we are and what we got. So this is one of the life years that life shows up. So I started out the year in January of helping rehome John's pets. John is napping, but he was in rehab, and my sister and I had been feeding his dogs and cat for a couple of months, and the poor things were not recognizing human beings because we didn't get to spend a lot of time with them. So so we found homes for them, and it's kind of neat that everybody that all of the new parents are in this room.
Yes.
For his beloved pets, and they're doing well, and so that's really nice. But I mean, part of that story is that I've known John since we did foundations together back when it was First Church of Religious Science, in 1990, I think. And so, you know, it was a tough time knowing that John was struggling and going through his own bit of life showing up. And so that was an emotional thing for a lot of us. I think just really wanting John to get well, and he is. So then we go on, and you know, life is kind of just life for a couple months, and then in March, I got a call that my brother was living in my condo that I had lived in for many years. My brother had terminal cancer. I'd gone through many dramas with him. His cancer was treatable. He refused treatment, but then he would say he wanted treatment, and then he didn't. And we'd gone through another one of these episodes where he said he wanted treatment. I took him, I said, I'll support you, whatever you want to do. Took him to doctors, and we went out, and he didn't do any of the things they asked him to. We went by the pharmacy to pick up his prescription, and he came out with a bunch of Christmas candy. So, so I said, okay, it doesn't look like he wants to do this. I don't know. So there was a continual drama with him, and in March, I got the phone call from the maintenance people. He would hang out with the maintenance people and talk to them, and they were concerned because they hadn't seen him, and I went to the condo and I found him, and he was no longer with us. And no matter how much preparation we have, no matter how long, no matter what, it's still hard when they're gone. And I don't have a lot of family here. I've lost contact with most of my family, so it's my sister, my brother, and my nephew. And my brother's gone, you know, so it was difficult. I had a hard time in March. I had to arrange things and, you know, the stuff that keeps you busy. But you know what I had? I had my job, and my job keeps me sane. And through all of whatever was going on, I would go, you know, I work from home, thank God. And so there's a blessing, very grateful for that. I love my job, I love the people I work with. I love the company I work for, so it's just, I'm so grateful to have that. And so that keeps me sane. And I get a lot of support from the people I work with too, so it's really nice. So is there gratitude in that? A lot of gratitude. There was a lot. My brother was out of his own pain and hell, and I have to trust that he's in a much better place now. He had a nice place to be on the last of his life. He was not completely alone. There were people around and we were close by. There was a lot. I remember, and I know that no matter what's going on, it's always best to remember to be in gratitude. My dad taught me this many years ago. He was a 12-step guy. He had been sober many years when he died, and he got sober when I was young. And he used to tell me, before you go to bed at night, you need to make a list of things that you could have done better in the day, and a list of things that you're grateful for. And he said, and your grateful list has to be longer than the other list. And so I would remember, I did that for many years. I would actually write them out. I do them more in my head now. But I would go through the gratitude list as I'm going through these things. So then we have March, and then April comes. April 2nd comes, and I've been experienced dizziness, and I'd been dizzy for a couple of days nonstop, and I said, something's going on. I know I'm not feeling that well. I have some other health issues, but this is weird. So I went to the emergency room, and on my way, I was planning to go to one hospital, and on my way, I felt very strongly guided to go to a different one. So I made the left-hand turn and went to the other one. And the ER doctor, just bless him, he was determined to find out what was going on. And he kept on. It wasn't this, it wasn't this, it wasn't, he just kept trying. So he decided to do a CAT scan. And then he came in the room, and so what, CAT scan, big deal. He comes in the room and he says, well, I could tell he was uncomfortable, so I said, oh, this doesn't look good. And he says, this is probably really hard for you to hear because you came in for a little bit of dizziness, and he says, but we found cancer. And, of course, I'm just in shock. I had breast cancer 14 years ago. Everything's been clear ever since, so it wasn't on anybody's radar, and so he says, yeah, we found cancer on your spine, and we got lots of lesions on your spine and your hips and a little bit of your head. And I said, oh. And so I said, can I go home? Can I go home? And he says, no. He says, I think we want to keep you, do some tests, and that'll help us get the process started. And I found out I wasn't very good being away from home. I didn't like being in the hospital. However, one of the first things I did was I texted Rev.Sherry. And I said, they're telling me I have cancer and I'm scared. And that was the best I could do. And she immediately typed back and said, hey, it's okay to be scared. It's okay. And she gave me some additional thoughts to think. Even though I'm in fear, God is in charge. God is here. God's in the center of everything. And I was like, okay, I can do this. But so she kept on. She said, text me again. She would text and check on me every so often. It was every few hours, I think. And with her the whole time. And I swear she saved my life because I was trying to say, I'm healthy, when, the evidence was not that. And I couldn't get there in my mind. And by saying, yes, I'm afraid, and yes, even though this stuff is happening, I'm dizzy, I'm in pain. It's God is still in charge of this, and health is coming through because that's what I am. I am pure health. That I could do. I couldn't just claim the other one. I couldn't get there. It just seemed like I was saying I was going to win, the $2 billion lottery.
Yeah.
So is there gratitude in that? There's a lot. The comfort I felt from Rev.Sherry's text was just amazing. and other people. I mean, there were lots. I got a lot of good support when I was in the hospital, and when I got out, I went through radiation treatment. Oh, if you've had radiation treatment, oh boy, yeah, that one was tough. I got really sick, and it had brought that, it stirred up the pain in my back really bad, which she warned me about. My doctor said it'll acerbate the pain at first, but then it'll make it better, and she was right. Gratitudes. I go to the radiation oncologist, and it's the same one I had been to when I had breast cancer, but the breast cancer treatment I had did not make me sick. I didn't have hardly any effects from it. This did, but I'm there and I'm scared, and she says, well, would you like, because I'm telling her I'm doing this with faith, and she says, would you like to pray? Oh, God.
No, just one.
Okay. Would you like to pray? And I said, yes. And so her nurse and her and me sat down and prayed. It was so nice. So then I went to my oncologist, and he told me that this is real treatable. He's got just the right mix of stuff that's going to get rid of it, and I'm going to be fine. And that helped me a lot too. Thank you. This is an oncologist I had back when I had breast cancer, but I stopped seeing him because the chemo made me sick, and I couldn't take it. But God, the chemo now, 14 years later, I feel better now than I did before I was on it. So, wow. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. So much gratitude in this. And just kind of, I think to finish this out, Thanksgiving came. Thanksgiving was tough this year for me. First year without my brother. Brought up a whole bunch of stuff about my family and all of the people who have gone. And I was having a hard time. And I was wallowing in it for a little bit. Then I remembered that, gratitude, I got to do my gratitude list. And that pulled me out of it, because you can't be grateful. You can't be depressed when you're grateful, I don't think. Or you can, and you still are grateful, and you're feeling better. And so, gratitude, yes. What's the title?
Beyond blessed.
Beyond blessed. I will tell you that is absolutely true. I feel it, I know it, and that is the truth. So thank you. That's all I have to share. Thank you. No. Welcome, Fran.
Thank you, Mary Jane. So yeah, beyond blessed. We, as a practitioner core, really do feel beyond blessed. I'm going to take a page from Rev.Sherry's playbook, and I'm going to give you 3 things. Okay. I'm teachable. I'm teachable. The first thing is beyond blessed. Y'all, we are back in person. Okay? It's been more than 2 years, and we're back in person. And this is an awesome space. And not only that, but I don't know if y'all know, but I'm a huge country fan. And so when I found out that Rev Glenn was going to be our musical inspiration, I'm like, sweet. Right? He sings all of my favorite songs. So that's the first thing. Okay, we're back in person. We are beyond blessed because we are back in person. The second thing is these teachings, this community, this congregation, this community has been transformative for me. We say that our teachings expand consciousness and transforms lives, and that really is true. Our teachings do expand consciousness and transform lives. And it has done that for me. I can't imagine being anyplace else. Y'all are going to make me cry. The third thing is, the last time I spoke for Practitioner Sunday, it was about release, right? We were doing the affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, and my topic was release. And if you heard that, you'll recall that my release was the story about discovering that I was pregnant and going to be a single parent, okay? And just walking through that experience. Now, if you remember, I also said that there was a cat involved, okay? But that was for a whole other story, right? That was for the animal chaplain side. All right, well, as Paul Harvey would say, this is the rest of the story, okay? So I was working as a veterinary technician, and we were doing spay and neuter, feral spay and neuter. And one morning, we have, anybody who's ever seen a big old tomcat, right? The big old fighting tomcat, got scars, no scrub. Right? So I look at my assistant and I say, this isn't going to go well. Get the cat catcher, because this is not going to go well. I'm going to try, but I'm pretty sure this is not going to go well. Well, sure enough, it didn't go well. He wasn't one of those to cower in the back, and he wasn't one of them up in the front like he's going to try to escape. He is in the middle of the cage, and he is going to take me on. And he did. He chewed up these two fingers and that thumb, and while they were going ahead and neutering him, I was going to the doctor. Now, you say, well, what does this have to do with anything? Well, so back in the day, they didn't know that certain antibiotics would deactivate your birth control pill. Yeah, I've already said to my grandson's mother and my son, you're welcome. Y'all are welcome. So sure enough, it deactivated my birth control pill. And so I was in a place where, what am I going to do? Right? I mean, I'm going to be a single parent. And I mean, I had choices, right? When we don't have to go into that. But I was, even then, I would have regular spiritual practice, meditation. I was actively involved in at that time, Buddhism, okay? But I was actively involved in meditation. But I was also, I also sat and I remembered the scripture. I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you. And so I sat with that. And honestly, even then, just knowing that God is in the midst of everything, I was able to get through that. So, fast forward, Thanksgiving, I go over and I have Thanksgiving with my son that I didn't even know I was going to have. And grandson, I never could have predicted, right? So, when I say beyond blessed, I am talking beyond blessed. From the very start to the very finish, beyond blessed, because God is in the midst of everything. So, we're going to open the space up for you all to share your beyond blessed story. Okay? Take a few minutes. No, what did we say? 90 seconds?
No, a minute.
Right, minute, right. So yeah, please feel free. We would like for you to share Beyond Blessed and join us. Join the practitioners in being Beyond Blessed. And then, after you're done, we're going to bless you again.
Raise your hand.
Hello.
I hate this microphone. Anyway, I just wanted to say, I'm Deb Pope. The thing that I'm really blessed about right now is that I want to acknowledge you guys, the practitioners. Mary Jayne, that was powerful, and yours was fabulous. And I really do honor you guys for showing up and having held the consciousness for years, and it's important. When you're on and doing a service, it's fabulous, Carrie, and you guys have really done well, standing and holding your consciousness and showing us actual living and doing that. So I wanted to say that, and I'm glad we're back in person, and I am very blessed. I've had a blessed life all the way, no matter what it looked like at different points, and a blessed life, a blessed wife, a Bentley baby boy is a joy in our life. He's the wild dog, and he's a fabulous boy, and he pushes every button you've got, and he's adorable, and that's what gets a lot of us through, being adorable. And it is just a journey. Life is just an incredible journey. And, you hit an age and stage where you keep waiting to say, okay, I'm here. I'm an adult. I got out of high school. I got out of college. I have a job. Cool. I'm an adult. No, it just keeps going at stage after stage after stage, and so in January, I will start year 3 of being retired, and I'm going to figure out what that means this year. But, I think 3 is a good year to start. Anyway, it's, it really is, what I've figured out is that all the struggle and all of the planning and all of the uproar and all of the everything is just what I create, and it's not real, and what is just right now. Right now, and however it shows up, and I've only got the choice of right this second, and the next second is another choice. And so this teaching, this philosophy, is a way of life for me that's being integrated at a different level, as I don't have the noise of work and all the noise I've created over the last 2 years. But it's a blessed journey, and I'm glad to be on here with you all. So thank you.
Janet.
Hi, my name is Janet Story, and gosh, there are so many things I could share, but I wanted to kind of tag team on Mary Jayne a little bit, because back in 2012, right after Thanksgiving, I found out I had breast cancer. And I remember, and I had a really good friend who had passed away from it, so that was my first worry. And they told me, no, what you have is very treatable, and it's stage 0. There was so much to be grateful for in the process. But I'll never forget being at the lab, and they said, okay, now you're going to go and follow this, health navigator down the hall, and she's going to talk to you about a bunch of stuff. I'm walking down the hall, and I'm kind of reeling a little bit, and then, and I always tell people it's like Oprah in my mind. It was like, find something to be grateful for. Like, I really felt like I heard this message, and immediately I started ticking off in my mind. I have health insurance. It's, it's a very low stage. It's very treatable, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, I was just coming up with things, and I sat down with her, at the end, and I said, I just have to tell you first that I know this is scary for me, but I know I have so much to be grateful for. And I really credit having, at that point, I'd been in the church about 6 years, and prior to that, I'd been in another metaphysical church. So, sometimes when you hear these messages over and over again, you don't realize how much they're like sinking in until you hit a crisis. And And then I'll just share a quick little funny one. So this year I cooked a turkey for Thanksgiving, and those of you who know me know I really don't cook very much. But so people are oftentimes shocked to hear that I cook anything. But anyway, I cooked a turkey because I wanted a turkey and I really wanted the gravy. But my whole family is either vegan or vegetarian, so I was the only person out of 6 that was going to eat the turkey. And of course, the smallest turkey I could find was like 15 pounds. So I had this huge turkey. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll figure out something. So we have, my mom is in a group home right now. She has dementia, and there are some lovely people at the group home who take care of her. Well, one of the couples, it's at man and woman, the man's daughter was coming to visit for Thanksgiving, so they had gone to get a hotel room for a couple of days, and they had plans to go to various places, for Thanksgiving dinner. And the morning of Thanksgiving, the 18-year-old daughter woke up and she didn't feel well, and they didn't know if she had COVID or not, so they decided to cancel their plans and make sure they didn't go anywhere. And so they called us, and I don't know if he called my sister. I don't know if he said they were hungry or if she just thought to offer it. But long story short, we ended up making a bunch of food and taking it over to the hotel room and so forth, including a whole bunch of turkey. So that was how the turkey ended up getting, or some of the turkey got used. So anyway, so I just feel like I really have a blessed life. It's been a very challenging years of personal circumstances for me, but in the midst of all that, I'll get these messages sometimes, just it's stuff that I've learned here. It's stuff that has been repeated so often that, I just kind of ingrained now, and that's, one of the many things that I'm grateful for this church, and I'm, of course, very grateful that we're back in person and get to see all of you again, so thank you.
Another one of those tales. Almost exactly a year ago, I was standing out by my pool, and a friendly little mosquito bit me. And in a couple days, I didn't feel so pretty good. And in fact, I told Siri to call 911. Which she did, and fortunately I had also unlocked the front door so they didn't have to take my house apart to get in. But I ended up in a hospital with what was later diagnosed as West Nile, and it was a fun time. And what was really fun was for the first 3 days I was a John Doe. For some reason, they didn't know who I was, despite the fact they had come and gotten me at my house. There was a disconnect there. So part of the blessing comes, all kinds of weird things happen. I had 3 dogs at that time, 2 of which have been fostered out to people who put up with them. And Bentley the Terrible ate my couch because he was bored and there was nothing else to eat in the house. Well, fortunately, Mary Jayne had a sister who used to dog sit for me. They had a key to my house. So they said, gee, we haven't heard from John for a while. Let's go check up on the dogs. Well, the dogs were a mess. And immediately, a whole bunch of friends descended on my house and fostered out my puppies and my cat. Mary Jayne got my cat. So, at any rate, what is really weird is my oncologist was doing her rounds downtown, and she sees my name on a list. Said, that name's awful familiar. So she went into the room and she said, oh my God, this looks like West Nile. They had not diagnosed it yet. So my oncologist not only identified me, but diagnosed the disease I had. And it was a little bit of a battle there. when my daughter Jenny first saw me, flew out from Indianapolis, she said I was wired up to everything but the Coke machine. And if you have met Jenny, you know she has her father's sense of humor, unfortunately. But I did survive, and I don't have, folks, I'm sorry, but I don't remember a thing about that hospital. I have no idea. What I remember is being in a rehab hospital where they were teaching me how to do things like walk, which apparently the mosquito had robbed me of. And I was discovering a circle of friends that I didn't really know I had. And many of them are in this room. And it was a delight and a pleasure to have the support of all of these people. They fostered my dogs. Of course, they don't want to give them back either. Henry, who was a little puppy when I had him, has grown up to be a larger dog. Yeah.
The king of the house.
The king of the house, okay.
His name is Hyde.
And Bentley, who is actually paid money for that dog, believe it or not. And he's a cross between a couple of things. And he doesn't look like either one of them, but he is determined that he will not be forgotten. And he is a monster after he. Yes, Jimmy the Jungle. And he really did eat my couch. I came in and there was no cushions left. It was a nice couch, it was. But I am just wallowing in blessedness. And this little gadget is something that is taking me on my way. I have a beautiful walker with all kinds of compartments and things in it. And the only trouble is trying to put it in a car is an absolute monster.
I need a motor on it.
Yeah. I need one of, I need a mechanical man to do this job for me. But at any rate, this cost me $7.59 at a Goodwill. And it is something that I can fold up and put in my car, and it is another one of the constant blessings that I keep tripping over.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you all. Now, we are going to bless you with a chamber of prayer. So we invite you to close your eyes and just be in this moment with us. Thank you.
walks out of this room more fully realized.
It's true.
You know there's a light blows by the front door. Don't forget the keys under the mat. When childhood stars shine, always stay humble and kind. Go to church 'cause your mom insists to. Visit grandpa every chance that you can. It won't be wasted time. Always stay humble and kind. Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. When the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. Don't expect a free ride from no one. Don't hold a grudge or a chip, and here's why. Bitterness keeps you from flying. Always stay humble and kind. Know the difference between sleeping with someone and sleeping with someone you love. I love you ain't no pickup lines. Always be humble and kind. Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb. Always stay humble and kind. When your dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride. Always stay humble and kind. When it's hot, eat a root beer popsicle. Shut off the AC and roll the windows down. Let that summer sun shine. Always stay humble and kind. Don't take for granted the love this life gives you. Get where you're going. Don't forget to turn back around and help the next one in line. Always stay humble